Okay, the podcast mamas are back, and our favorite guitarist always kicks us off.
It's time for bed, oh, it's time for you. Mom and Dad says what you gotta do. We don't care if you ain't tired. Take it from the one whom you so admired. It's bedtime for Hella Missy. Don't you cry or go and hiss it. No more games and no running around, 'cause we don't wanna hear another sound. Just take your bell and get tucked in and don't make us swear again and again and again.
Hey, it's the podcast mamas. And today we have our wonderful guest star, Miss Laura. Miss Laura, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today, Miss Laura?
We are doing pretty good today. Today is a good day.
Oh, yay. And I can see that you have already summoned the fall.
I am desperately trying over here.
I mean, I think we finally have hit the first week where we haven't had 100 degrees. So,
Yes.
Ella is homesick today, as our audience is going to hear little blurbs of her chiming in.
Hi, Beanie.
Yeah, we have a frog in our throat because
Oh.
it started off with some tantrums that make the vocal cords angry.
Yeah.
And then I believe that she probably caught a bug. And so that bug now has created some mucus in the angry vocal cords. So
Oh.
if any other special needs parents out there know what it's like to have a child with a tantrum where they scream at the top of their lungs, beware of where the bugs are lurking, because they could land in the vocal cords, and then you have a horse with lots of mucus. Or a frog, you know.
Yeah, we have to have you back over to Miss Laura's house very soon, Bean.
I
But you
know.
got to feel better first.
Yes, you have to get healthy. But look at how festive Miss Laura's house looks. I mean, I wish the podcasters could see this, because she's got lights, she's got
I
pumpkins.
tried. I turned my palm tree into fall leaf tree.
You did, man. Maybe if I do that, maybe if we all do that, it'll just become fall out here in Arizona where we really need it.
Yeah, we have to kind of illusion ourselves into it out here.
Isn't that the truth? But we did get a nice long walk this morning, and
Good.
I've talked about it before, and I'm going to give a plug again for the oh, for heaven's sakes, the something tomato, my awesome stroller, my awesome special needs oversized stroller that supports weight up to 125 pounds, which I know may not work for every kiddo, but it is a wonderful addition to our plethora of toys here. And this way Ella and I can get outside and get some sunshine, and I get a little exercise. So
Yay. Yeah, get that vitamin D.
yeah. So Miss Laura, tell me, what is going on with you? What is happening now that we are a couple weeks further into the school year? Is it heavily weighted on the kiddos, or is it more heavily weighted on the ladies, the self-care business?
It's been pretty equal on both accounts.
Okay.
I did have to step back from the women's group due to personal reasons for a little bit.
Okay.
I just have a lot going on in my life right now that is out of my control. So,
Well, you can't devote everything to all the things, so.
no, so I'm having to practice what I preach, which has actually been a lot harder than I would have imagined.
Oh, taking your own advice. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I am. But as far as my self-care realms, I actually switched up my contracts with Miss Laura's Life Skills just ever so slightly this year. So I used to have 6-week contracts with a week off in between for makeups and admin and whatnot.
Sure.
But me being me and the people pleaser I am, and the fact that I hate having to put the families out, I ended up just doing all makeups and or extra hours, and I never had that week off to catch up on anything. So this year I put my foot down with myself. And so now we have 5 week contracts. Week 6 is our makeups or extra hours. And then week 7, which is what I'm currently on, I am closed and I'm working on admin, household, whatnot. Um, so yeah, it's been nice to catch up on some things.
Okay, so I'm going to translate for Miss Laura and for anyone who's listening. What the frog over here has said is, Miss Laura, guess what? I dropped my phone and now I have a crack in it.
Oh no. We have to be careful with our phones, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Be very careful, huh, Ella? Yeah. And so you're going to drink your smoothie and try and help the rest those vocal cords and heal up your throat. Yes. Yes. And we couldn't get out of the store today without a ghost.
Of course.
Miss Laura, maybe you can offer
Very cute
some
being.
reminders for people like myself who, when they've been educated on how to try and get out of stores without buying everything in sight, even when a tantrum is present, remind us of what the trick is with
Yes.
that.
The best thing you can do, and I understand sometimes time constraints won't allow, but even if you use the Notes app on your phone, make some sort of visual list. And we're only buying what's on the list.
Yeah.
And the ghost wasn't on the list. So that would be the best and quickest way to do it. Otherwise, I remember back in the day with Ella's other teacher, Miss Rachel, she and I would take turns going into the stores and practicing with her. We would look at things and we'd say, oh, that's cute, but we're going to put it back.
There was
We
like a whole
practice putting it back
phrase.
on the
Wasn't there like
shelf. Yes.
there was like a whole beautiful phrase and it was like 3-step phrase or something you guys had nailed down.
Yeah, I don't remember the whole thing, but it was basically just like, you could take the item off, you could look at it, maybe you'd hold it for a little bit, and then you would practice like, okay, but not today, and we put it back.
Yeah.
And she's really good with that, at least with us. But I know with parents, like the kiddos are always different with the parents. Unfortunately, you guys are always gonna get the worst versions of them. So
It's
it's
true.
hard.
It's true, but those are helpful reminders. I need to remember the phrases and the tips because sometimes you are just frazzled in a store and you just want to get out of there. So you're like, fine, the $16 ghost isn't gonna um, you know, ruin my life. Um,
Right.
but she's yeah. So we have a ghost, friends. We have a ghost.
Fun.
Okay, so back to you.
Mhm.
The self-care for the ladies is on a hold.
Yes, it's on a little hold. I need to get in touch with our tarot reader and see if we're still going to plan for our October event at this point or not. Because I like to, start marketing stuff like that ahead of time. And I'm hopeful. I had a really good event in November set up with my naturopath on holistic ways to stay healthy through the holidays. So I'm really hopeful to keep that on the tab right now. But it's more, I really, coming off the retreat, I had all this great energy and drive, and I really wanted to push forward, especially in the social media realms this year. And we just took our first steps, and then all this stuff in my life went sideways. So they're there. They'll be there for me when I'm ready. I know. It's just, when you get all these expectations and you have all these ideas and then things just go a different way and it's just frustrating.
Yeah,
So I'm just
yeah.
sitting in that frustration and telling myself it's okay. Everything happens in the time frames it's supposed to. So yeah.
It's such a healthy perspective. I have beaten myself up silly when I can't complete a follow through. And
Right.
I'm really I'm working on, I should say, trying to twist those thoughts in my brain like, look what you've done. Look what you've
Hmm.
already done.
Yep.
That within and of itself is a lot to be proud of.
Exactly.
You know you'll get back to giving what you can give, and
Yep.
that is enough.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, I can't speak for men, but I feel like women just go through this so much because we just always have the weight of the world on our shoulders. Like there's so many expectations of us now in 2024 than there were even 20, 30 years ago, I would
Oh
say.
my gosh,
And it just
yes.
keeps getting exponentially more each year. So I think it is really important that we do remind ourselves, like you said, of all the things we have accomplished, like focus on the accomplishments and not what's falling by the wayside right now.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do I definitely was starting to feel like a failure, and that's ridiculous. Like we had a very successful year with a
Yeah.
retreat that I never
I would
expected to do.
never associate that
So
word with you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I
you're
mean,
sweet. But we all go through it. We all have these ups and downs in life, and
do you
we
think
get
it's
these
the
memories.
visuals? Do you think it's like the social media stuff that we're seeing that's kind of like, oh wow, well they're really doing stuff, so I need to. And
Yes, yes,
gosh, I mean, we talk
you
about pressure
because
on teens, but really us adults are
oh
suffering too.
gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like I have been putting more and more boundaries on myself with my phone and social media. And the days that I'm off it more are the days that I am happier and
Happier.
more relaxed and less anxious. So,
It's
yeah, there is definitely something to it for sure.
It's such a paradox too, right? Because we love social media to connect. We love
Yes.
social media to communicate, to advertise, to promote. But at the
Yep.
same time, we're almost kind of like, oh, do I really want to look today at what's going on with everybody? You know?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. It's really hard. I feel like you have to be in the right mind space for it. And even then, I get tripped up often because as you know, I'm a low energy human. And so when I see all these people, particularly women, that seem to like not even sleep, they just go, 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 and they do all the things. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm doing a tenth of what you're doing in a day. And that's really frustrating for me because I have the drive, I have the ideas, I have the passion.
yeah,
I just don't always have the energy to follow through.
yeah,
And so I think that's why I was extra frustrated lately because, you know, I've been doing all the things to reevaluate my routines, my boundaries, the nutrients going into my body every day, like everything. I've really switched up a lot of things in my life to have more energy to do the things that I want to do. But then when something just comes out of left field that I have no control over, it's like, man, like
yeah.
I was on track, guys.
I know. I really wish that we could have like an interactive audience commentary where they could just say, yeah, I feel that way too. And,
Yes.
even kind of share how they get through that moment, because
Right.
some people have really great ideas of how they
Yes.
can
Well, that's
survive.
why I try and get the women together as often as I can because those are the conversations that end up happening and they're so healing and they're so like beneficial to everybody and somebody learns something from someone in every instance. And I actually had several of the women up north in a cabin together,
Love that.
not a
I love
retreat,
that.
but just like a spontaneous girls' getaway a few weekends ago when all this stuff went down in my personal life. And it was so wonderful to have that support in that moment. But when I kept having to step out of the room and make phone calls to hear these four other women that previously didn't even know each other were brought together by the sisterhood, laughing and sharing stories and just really deep, vulnerable moments that they were having with each other. It just lights me up. So,
I bet.
the women's group isn't going away by any means. I'm going to keep plugging along. It's just not going to be as broadened this year as I was
Okay.
hopeful for.
Okay. I mean, everything in time, and you'll get the signs of when it's time to roll that out. But I think
Exactly.
you have a lot of great events on the table, I
Mhm.
mean, so it's not to
Yeah.
say you've kicked it to the wayside by any means.
No, not at all.
So,
Not
so
at
the
all.
next event that's coming up, you're shooting for October to do the tarot.
Yes, the tea and tarot. We're going to add an activity to this one. I'm going to lead women through making fall themed flower crowns while they're waiting for their readings to occur.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to check in with our tarot reader and confirm where she's at in life too, and
Yes.
hopefully get our date confirmed and get things out because that's our fan favorite so far event.
And
So
where do you guys meet?
so I host this particular one in my home.
Okay.
I have a pretty large, for a condo, walk-in master closet, which I hang up sheets and put a bunch of pillows in and truly turn it into a tarot tent. Like you would have no idea you're in a closet.
Incredible.
Um, and the women love it. Like everyone from their 20s to their 60s gets on the floor in my closet
Love it.
and just loves it. So yeah, and just holding that space then in the main room for those vulnerable conversations to occur. And we'll make some pretty little flower crowns and yeah, go from there.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Oh, I hope all of that comes through and happens and everything. So that sounds like a
Thank
really
you.
neat event. And then November, you said you've got the holistic um uh help me out here, holistic
Yes. Naturopath.
naturopath.
Holistic approach to the holidays, basically. Healthy through the holidays and
You have the hiccups? Is that what you said? Oh, bathroom. Bathroom.
oh, okay.
Yeah, go take care of that. Go take care of it.
Go for it and we'll cheer you on, Bean.
Okay. Go on. Go on.
Take your ghost.
Yeah. Take your ghost to the bathroom and we'll cheer you on, okay? Yes. Yes. What do you need? I don't know. This one I can't translate right now. I can't translate right now. Well, anyway, tell me how the kiddos are doing. So you've gotten through already. You've already gotten through 5 weeks then?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah, we're through 6 weeks already. So everyone is settling into their school routines. For some of them, the honeymoon period is definitely over. We're starting to see some behaviors come in, which is okay. And in fact, one of the families, I've been working with their 4-year old. I'm now going to work with their 7-year old sibling as well because there seems to be some instigating happening in the household. So looking forward to supporting them a little bit more this coming contracted period.
Got it.
But yeah, so far pretty smooth. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing unexpected. Um, I'll be helping families through. So I'm very intentional when I take these weeks off to make sure that they don't occur over school breaks. So I'm around, mid-October when the kids are out of school a solid week here in Arizona, which doesn't happen in many other places.
I know.
So yeah, I'm around to help support extra hours or whatever as needed. We'll see what that week looks like. I'd love to do like another bowling event, kind of group event or something for the kiddos.
Yeah.
Because I just love getting them together too, however I can. So I guess I better get into that pretty quick. These weeks just fly by so fast. I'm like, shoot, we're like a weekish away from October. Like
Well,
what?
I think I think what happens here in Arizona is that because the heat sticks around for so long, you still partially feel like you're in summer. And
Yes.
then there's this flip of the switch. We finally get a look set this
Right.
cooler weather, and then all of a sudden, you're right, it's Halloween. So, yeah,
Right.
things do happen
Right.
fast around here. That's for sure.
They do. They do. Yeah. I was noticing all the football on this weekend and just like, oh yeah, I guess it's football season. It doesn't feel like football season. Still, I've lived here like 28 years and it still just doesn't hit
I
at all.
know. And when you go in the stores, you see all of the Halloween and the fall decor, which is
Yes.
wonderful. But I am sure, and many parents can relate to this, when their children enter the store and see all the decorations, they just go wild with, excitement and joy for
Right.
the holiday season and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I couldn't even get out of the one store today without the $16 ghost. So here we are. And, Ella
Yeah.
has gotten to a point where she even starts unloading the bins from the cabinets in the garage so that
Wow.
she can enjoy getting those decorations out as soon as
All
possible.
right.
And
Yeah.
we have the cat. We have
Right. I
the
was gonna say,
two
when does a huge cat go up?
huge cat. Miss Laura knows it. Huge cat. So it's a two-story cat that's tail actually touches the second story where Ella's window is. And she
Right.
lives for this cat, folks. And I got to tell
Yep.
you,
For you.
it is it is a very arduous task to put this sucker up, and it is way too hot for the handsome Mr. Parkhill to do it right now. So she gotta wait. She's gotta wait on the cat.
Love it.
I know, I know. Well, yeah, I would say that for us, the school year has gone to a really, really great start in regards to Ella's excitement and joy. And
Good.
for the bus, for the classroom, it's the same teacher. She got a new para educator who is lovely. So
Oh, great.
all of that is fantastic. Um,
Awesome. And she's back on cheer, right? When does that start?
So she's back on cheer. I didn't let her cheer the first game because it was 100 degrees at night and I was worried about her
Oh, yeah.
health. So she
Yeah.
could be cheering tomorrow night because they switched her over to the JV games for safety purposes
Oh,
instead of
okay.
varsity for now. Um, so she should be cheering tomorrow night, which will be really neat to see. Um,
Yeah.
but I gotta tell you, with all the good and all the glory and all the love and joy and everything this girl brings, she is having some serious tantrums. Serious
Oh,
tantrums. And I guess she's having some at school, but they're able to reason with her to talk her off the ledge because they haven't reached out to complain to me about it. I've just said, "Oh, we had a tantrum over here, stomping the foot, duck lips, screaming, slamming the door." And oh
when
yeah,
did it start?
it
When
starts
did
with
it start?
it starts usually with having to wake her up when she doesn't want to get up. But it can go
Okay. Okay.
but it can
I,
also go into
I
like,
meant more timeline.
oh, in her
Like, did it
life.
just start a couple weeks ago? Yeah. Like these most recent tantrums, did
Mm,
they start like, was there
okay.
any kind of trigger that you can think of?
Well,
Because
we're
I
not
can think of one.
okay. Well, coming off the end of the school year, previous school year, it tantrums were more about arguing about clothes and brushing teeth.
Okay.
So we worked through that a little bit, and then it was like, okay, it's summer, no one's forcing you to get up, no one's having these arguments anymore. So it was kind of nice. She'd have
Right.
a couple of tantrums here and there, but it wasn't anything major, you know. And
Okay.
now we're back in the swing of, you got to get up, got to get out of bed, you got to wear clothes that you're not going to sweat in, you've got to brush your teeth. But then there's the very unreasonable ones, like tying off a grocery bag that might have a stinky pull-up in it. If I were to untie it
Okay.
and she worked hard to tie it, that sets her off. So,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
tantrums.
I was just curious if it had anything to do with Carter leaving, because I'm sure, like
Oh,
you all, the rest of you, she has a lot of emotions about that she probably can't express like the
yeah,
rest of you can.
yeah.
And so it could be coming out in different ways.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, Ella's got her uh, bigger brother. I can't say older, bigger brother who went
Right.
away to college. So yeah, that could be a trigger for some of the mayhem out here because she is used to banging on his door and getting a reaction, whether he's yelling at her or
Yeah.
just escorting her back to bed or whatever it may be. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I'll have to check in with her and see if that's that's been bothering her? Hmm.
Yeah, maybe just try to have some honest conversations about it, even if it's mostly from your perspective. Say,
Yeah.
hey, I just wanted to check in because I'm really missing Carter. It makes me sad that he's not here. I think about him all the time. But, we can always FaceTime him or text him or write him a letter or just remind her that, like, he's still there, just not in the same capacity, of course.
No, that's so true. And that kind of a conversation is really important to have. And I think that sometimes I, and maybe other moms of kids with disabilities and such, may underestimate the value in those conversations because we kind of think, oh, they don't get it. It's over their
Right,
head. They don't get it.
right,
Why bother saying those things? They're not understanding me. But
right.
I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that a lot of times Ella does absorb more than I think she does and probably needs to hear more than I'm saying.
I agree for any kiddo out there.
Yeah.
Um, they're just because their expressive language isn't great doesn't mean they're not receptive to what's happening. And
Yeah.
because she is the oldest child in your home, her brothers have been with her entire life.
Yeah.
Carter has always been there, and now all of a sudden he's not. And again, we don't know the level of processing. So even though like you were doing your best to process all summer and you were still having a lot of emotions processing, knowing he was leaving, like she might have been hearing you, but couldn't really fully understand. But now that he's gone, maybe
Gone.
her processing has just started. And again,
Yeah.
these are all assumptions, but it's just stuff I like to take into account if I've got a kiddo that's kind of exhibiting newer, or maybe they're not new to that kiddo, but maybe reoccurring behaviors that seemingly are coming out of nowhere. I always think, okay, have there been any big life changes lately, or
Yeah.
we changed up their diet lately, or any kind of change affects us in
Yeah.
a very physical way. Um,
No, that's there's a lot of truth in that. A lot of truth in that. Um, and yeah, and just having the conversation, even when you think that maybe you don't know what they're absorbing, just have that conversation to could put them at ease because it really, really could. That's such a good point. I need to do that with her. I need to do that with her. Thank you, Miss Laura. Always
oh,
good tips of advice here. In fact, I really should bring on Jordan's mom when you're on. I think I've said this before.
oh yeah, I would love to meet her.
Yeah, she's a great lady. Great lady. She
Um,
she is finally opening up her world to having caregivers. She's never really used caregivers, believe it or
oh,
not.
good.
I think that it's a good time for her to do
Wow.
that. Yeah. I think it's what Jordan's been
Yes.
missing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I get it. I can't imagine what it's like to open your home to all these strangers and have people come in, and it's sometimes it's hard for us to relinquish control. I'm going through that in my own life right now. So I understand it's difficult, but there are so many lovely benefits of you've experienced over the years by opening your home to all of us. Like so many friendships have been made, friends that have become family. It's just been such a blessing to be able to watch Ella grow all this time.
yeah, and I truly attribute massive amounts of her growth to all the different caregivers that have come in and
Mhm.
out of the house and have given her these wonderful experiences. I certainly couldn't have done it alone. So,
Right. Yeah.
she is who she is. You know, she's like a 16th of Miss Laura. She's a 16th of Ryan. She's a 16th
Right.
of Morgan, Casey, Becky, Tatum, Sam. I mean, it's
Gosh. Yeah.
when I think about all the great people that have come in and out, it's been such a blessing. And
Yeah.
maybe I need to call all 16 to 20 of you back so you can reel in this temper tantrum situation for me.
Right. Well, we should definitely all be at her 21st birthday next year. That would be super fun.
Yes, in Vegas, baby. Oh, Miss Laura, well, I hate to say it, but you won't believe it. We are almost out of time. So, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share today until we see you again in a couple weeks?
I would just encourage everyone, as I've found out a bit of the hard way, to just go back over your self-care routines, see what needs changing, see what needs support. Because you can't support the people that you love if you're dragging. So sometimes that means we have to step away for a little bit, and that's really hard for some of us, myself included. But it will benefit everyone when you're running from a full cup versus an empty one. So,
Wow, that is some really, really good advice. Really, really good advice. You cannot help others if you have an empty cup. So, on that note, remember that a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. And until next time, folks, thanks for listening.